I did not make up this mnemonic for remembering the steps of long division, but I like it. I like it lots. So we're going to use it throughout the whole year. There are 5 steps of traditional long division. And the thing I found is you can remember them by thinking of a bossy long division family. They love to tell people to do long division. Where dad has a step, mom has a step, sister has a step, brother has a step, and then Rover the dog has a step even. So dad tells you to divide. Which means ask yourself how many times the divisor goes into the first number or numbers of the dividend. Especially if you have a double or even a triple digit divisor, you might have to use estimation in order to do this divide step. A lot of times you come up with just an estimate. It's a little bit of a guess and check thing for the divide step. Next, the mom tells you to multiply. So find the product. I'm just going to write that again. Find the product of the divisor and that estimate from step 1. A lot of times in the next step I'll refer back to something from the previous step. Then sister comes along. Seems like sister's going to be easy enough. Sister tells you to subtract. However, sister might also yell at you. This is the step a lot of people forget. Sister tells you to subtract. So take the number in the dividend from the top minus that product that you just found. She might need to yell at you if that product you just found is too large, and subtracting would end up getting negative. What? You can't subtract 52 from 51. If you have 52, that means you went too high. You went too high, that means you have to go back. So sister nags at you until you finally give in. Erase and go back to step 1 if the product is greater than the number in the dividend because you guessed too high. Or the more common one that people forget is to look at that difference. If the difference is greater than or equal to the divisor, then you have to subtract and go back to step 1 because you guessed too low. What do you mean you have 25 remaining? If you have 25 left over and you're only trying to get 22, that means you should have grabbed another group of 22. You guessed too low. You need to erase. You need to go back. Fix it, fix it, fix it. That's the sister. So I do that voice, hopefully, to try and remember. Oh, yeah, wait, she would yell at me. I gotta go back. So it's okay to make mistakes. That's why a lot of times we do our math work in pencil because we might need to erase things and go back and try again. So sister sometimes does yell at me. It happens, even to me. And then brother comes along. He's pretty chill. Brother just tells you to bring down the next digit. However, brother only lets you bring down 1 digit during his step. You don't bring everything down. So brother tells you to write the next number, not number or numbers, but the next number in the dividend next to that difference that you had from sister's step to form a new number to start analyzing. And then Rover, Rex, Ralph, I don't know, the dog. Rover tells you to repeat. Go back to step 1, but now working with this new number. Or if there wasn't anything to bring down, then Rover tells you you're ready for remainder. It's really hard to write on this smartboard. It doesn't always quite line up exactly like I'd like. Ready for remainder is what that's supposed to say. If it's a word problem, it means how many boxes, how many such and such do I need to order, or whatever. Usually bump it up. If it's how many can I make, how many will be produced, that's usually when you go down to the previous number, because you can't make another one if you only have a partial amount. But if it doesn't have a word problem, at this point, you can kind of still write that remainder 3 or 8 or whatever, but it's just as easy to turn it into a mixed number answer. That's what we're going to do with our examples. And eventually we'll also look at making decimal quotients. So everybody have all these words? Hopefully yours are a little neater than that thing that's driving me batty down there. So I'm going to clear off this ink so that I can go to the bottom of the page with you. Because we're going to do 2 examples going through the process down near the bottom. Oh, but I did right here. Remember with the multiplication practice, I had you keep checking your work with a calculator. You can also check your work with a calculator, or, you know, the long way if you don't have a calculator handy, by multiplying the divisor by the quotient you found and adding the remainder on. And therefore the result should be the original dividend if it was A-OK. So that's just a little tip on how you can check your work there. So we're going to do a problem over here. We're going to divide 7 into 4,952. You don't want to write it really large because we're going to need to try to fit it in this space. Go 3 digits down. So first we're going to ask ourselves, what's the first step? Dad. Dad tells us to divide. So Dad tells us to think about how many times does 7 go into 4? How many times does 7 go into 4, sir? 0, it doesn't. Some people write a 0, some people mark an X up there, some people just leave it blank and know to shift over. That's a personal preference type thing. Now we're going to move over to the next step. How many times does 7 go into 49, ma'am? 7 times. So Dad's divide step, we had to go over 2 digits, therefore we had to put our estimate, except we really know in this case, over the 49, because we went over 2 digits. Make sure things are lining up. Then Mom tells us to multiply. So what is 7 times 7, sir? 49. 49. Sister tells us to subtract. 49 isn't too big, so she doesn't have to yell at us yet. So what do we get when we subtract 49 from 49? 0. So Sister wasn't needing to yell at us at this point because 0 can't get us another group of 7. So we're all set with Sister. So that means the brother's available to bring down. So what number are we going to be dealing with next? 5. We just bring down the single digit 5. And now we can repeat the process. So Dad tells us to divide. How many times does 7 go into 5? Sir, in the way back? 0 times. We do have to write this 0. Now the next 2 steps are optional. After you get into the hang of it, you're comfortable with making sure you put that 0 step down. You don't necessarily have to write these next 2 steps. But to show why these next, why putting that 0 there is important, we're going to show it in our example on the notes here. So Dad tells us to divide, we said 0. Mom tells us to multiply. What is 0 times 7? 0 times 7, ma'am? 0. And Sister tells us to subtract. So what is 5 minus 0, sir? Is 5. And now Brother tells us to bring down. So ma'am, what are we going to get for our next thing we're going to analyze? 52. So the reason we put that 0 in is to go, okay, that means I'm going to have a difference of 5 so that I can now be working with the 52 next. So that 0 up there, let us go to the next digit and get 52. So we're ready to repeat the process. How many times does 7 go into 52? We're doing Dad's division step. Oh, there you are. How many times does 7 go into 52? 7. 7. He's like, oh, why should we wake me up? 7. Dad's divide step, we say 7. Mom's multiply step, what's 7 times 7, ma'am? 49. Sister doesn't have to yell at us yet. 49 is not greater than 52. So Sister tells us to subtract. And what do we get when we subtract? 3, we do. Brother tells us to bring down, but we don't have something to bring down. So this time, Rex, Rover, whatever the dog's name is, Rover in the notes here, will tell us we're ready for the remainder. We don't have a word problem situation. Doesn't tell us what to do with the remainder. The most mature thing to do with the remainder, and yet easy at the same time, is just to put your remainder 3 over the 7. And you say, I have as an answer 707 and 3 sevenths. So it means 3 sevenths of the way towards another group of 7. To check the answer on the calculator, I would do 770 times 7 plus that 3 I had as a remainder. I get 4,952. Phew, check. move on to the next problem. So we're going to move on to one more problem before you get to do it on your own. The other thing I like to have us put in our notes is just the whole idea of the formatting. If I read this 791 divided by 33, divided by 33 means 3 is the one that's doing the dividing, it's the divisor. I had a student when I taught 7th grade said, my tutor said you always just put the smaller number on the outside. That's not always going to be the case. So we want to get in the habit of going, okay, something divided by something. That means the second number is the divisor. It's going to go on the outside. It's going to be doing the dividing. So everybody write down this format, 791 divided by 33, and then set it up as long division. This time we have a double-digit divisor, so we might end up doing a little more estimating than we did when our divisor was just a single digit. So how many times does 33 go into 7, ma'am?
2.
You think 33 goes into 7 2 times?
Oh,
0 times. So again, some people mark an X, some people put a 0, some people just shift over. I just shift over personally, but it's up to you, personal preference. How many times does 33 go into 79, ma'am, way back?
Me?
Yeah.
2.
This one is where she came up with the 2. She was already shifted over. So Dad tells us to divide. We think 33 goes into 79 2 times. Because what is 33 times 2? Man, let me way back next to the other one there that I just called it way back. 66. Mom tells us to multiply, we get 66. Sister tells us to subtract. We don't have to be yelled at yet, thank goodness. We subtract, and what do we get, sir? Division. 13. 13 is in fact less than 33. She doesn't have to go, you can't do 33, blah, blah, blah. So that means brother's ready to tell us to bring down. And what are we going to get when we bring down the next digit, sir? So what number are we going to do? We're going to end up dealing with 131. A lot of times I do draw that arrow, especially if I have a lot of digits I'm bringing down. I might lose track of what the heck did I just bring down? Where am I now? So if it's just 3 or 4 digits, I might not need the arrows, but I just got myself in a habit because I was making mistakes, not remembering where I left off and stuff. All right, sister, brother, oh, repeat. Robert tells us to repeat. So how many times do you think 33 goes into 131 as an estimate, sir?
4.
We're going to guess 4 times. We're all going to be writing in pencil. All right, 4 times. We're all going to write in pencil 4 times. That's a good estimate, though. Think about it. Don't mock. Think about it. That's a really good estimate. Because if you estimated this is about a 3 and this is about a 12, we'll go 4 times. So, what happens is, I don't know what 33 times 4 is off the top of my head, so I go ahead and do my scratch work. And I don't erase that scratch work, because it might come in handy down the line. I go ahead and I multiply it out, and I get 132. I go to write 132, and I realize sister's going to start screaming, right? 132, I can't take 132 away from 131. What are you crazy? I'm not going to go to negative numbers when I'm dealing with long division. Blah, 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 blah. So we're going to erase and go back and change it to what? A 3. The last class, the person didn't estimate a 4. I was disappointed. Your estimation skills should have had you estimate 4. So anyway, 4 didn't work. No problem. Sister yelled at us. We erase. We go back and change it to a 3. 3 times 33, I do know off the top of my head. Do you know what 3 times 33 is off the top of your head? Mm-hmm.
99.
You always come back for more than 99. Got there? Red Sox win, you get to eat free. Mm-hmm. Now sister doesn't have to yell at us because when we subtract 131 minus 99, what do we get? 32. We go ahead and bring, oh, nothing to bring down. So therefore, ready for remainder. So, sir, we're ready for remainder. Do you know how to make a fractional answer out of it?
Yeah, 32 over 33.
32 over 33. So our answer in this case would be 23 and 32 33rds. Again, with the calculator, I would multiply 33 times the 23, and then from that I would add the 32, and I should get the 791.